Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. There's a single mental move you can make, which in a millisecond will solve enormous problems for you. It has the potential to improve almost any personal or business situation you will ever encounter, and it could literally propel you down the path to incredible success. We have a name for this magic mental activity. It is called decision. Well, that might sound really silly, crazy. Decision is the mental move which will solve enormous problems for you. But that's what my coach and mentor, Bob Proctor, taught me. Make a decision, and everything in your life will change. Decide that you're going to be happy and look for ways that happiness comes into your life. Allow happiness. Make a decision. Make a decision that you are no longer going to allow yourself to go down that downward spiral and keep going until you hit the bottom before you pull yourself up and decide that today is going to be a wonderful day. Today, you're going to be happy, healthy, making decisions quickly and deciding which direction to go in will change everything in your life. It sounds a little bit unbelievable, but Bob Proctor wrote an article and he said that decisions, or the lack of them, are responsible for making or breaking of many a career. Individuals who have become very proficient at making decisions without being influenced by the opinions of others are the same people whose annual incomes fall into the 6 and 7 figure category. However, it's not just your income that is affected by decisions. Your whole life is dominated by this power. The health of your mind and body, the well-being of your family, your social life, the type of relationships you develop, all are dependent upon your ability to make sound decisions. He said you would think anything as important as decision making, when it has such far-reaching power, would be taught in every school, but it's not. To compound the problem, not only is decision making missing from the curriculum of our educational institutions, up until recently, it's also been absent from most of the corporate training and human resource programs available. So, how is a person expected to develop this mental activity? Quite simply, you must do it on your own. However, it is important to understand that it is not difficult to learn how to make wise decisions. Armed with the proper information and by subjecting yourself to certain disciplines, you can become a very effective decision maker. You can virtually eliminate conflict and confusion in your life by becoming proficient at making decisions. Decision making brings order to your mind. And of course, this order is then reflected in your objective world and in your results. The person who fails to develop their ability to make decisions, Bob Proctor says, is doomed, because indecision sets up internal conflicts that can, without warning, escalate into all-out mental and emotional wars. Psychiatrists have a name to describe these internal wars. It is ambivalence. The Oxford Dictionary tells us that ambivalence is the coexistence in one person of opposite feelings toward the same objective. Well, think about what you want in your life. And think about how all the reasons that you can't have it, all the excuses come pouring into your mind instantly after you think about what you want. I want this day to go smoothly. I would love to be happy and healthy and free and wealthy. And I'm setting the intention that today is going to be a fantastic day. But in your subconscious mind, in the back of your mind, in every cell of your being, you are expecting chaos. You're expecting problems. You're anticipating that things will go wrong. Your central nervous system is making up all kinds of stories and trembling as if there's already a problem. It takes making a decision that you're not going to go down that same familiar road and expect that today will be the same as yesterday, that the same results will happen. You have to make conscious decisions that you're not going to buy into that same old routine. And that takes studying and understanding and making decisions quickly and firmly and deciding, getting clear on what it is that you truly want and how important is that in your life. Bob Proctor said, you don't need a doctorate degree in psychiatry to understand that you're going to have difficulty in your life if you permit your mind to remain in an ambivalent state for any period of time. That leads to procrastination. The person who permits it to exist will become despondent and virtually incapable of any type of productive activity. He says it's obvious that anyone who finds themselves in an ambivalent mental state is not really living. At best, they're just merely existing. A decision or a series of decisions would change everything. A very basic law of the universe is create or disintegrate. Indecision causes disintegration. How often have you heard a person say, I don't know what to do? How often have you heard yourself say, what should I do? What should I do? Quit asking other people, what should I do? Think about some of the indecisive feelings you and virtually everyone on this planet has experienced from time to time. And it's opposite. Love them or leave them. Quit or stay. Do it or don't do it. Buy it, don't buy it. Say it, don't say it. Tell them, don't tell them. Everyone on occasion has experienced these feelings of ambivalence. If it happens to you frequently, decide right now to stop that. Indecision is the cause of ambivalence, but we must keep in mind that the truth is not always in the appearance of things. Indecision is a cause of ambivalence, however, it's a secondary cause. It's not the primary cause. It is clear from decades of studying the behavior of people who have become very proficient at making decisions that they all have one thing in common. They have a very strong self-image, a high degree of self-esteem. They're also courageous. They know what they want. They may be as different as night and as today in numerous other respects, but a person who is proficient at making decisions possesses confidence. The real culprit is low self-esteem or lack of confidence. Decision makers are not afraid of making a mistake. If and when they make an error in their decision or fail at something, they have the ability to shrug it off. They learn from the experience, but they never submit to failure. Every decision maker was either fortunate enough to have been raised in an environment where decision making was part of their upbringing, or they developed the ability themselves at a later date. They are aware of something that everyone who hopes to live a full life must understand. Decision making is something you cannot avoid. Bob Proctor writes, "This is the cardinal principle of decision making. Decide right where you are with whatever you've got." This is precisely why most people never master this important aspect of life. They permit their resources to dictate if and when a decision will or can be made. Never say, "I'll do it when I have time. I'll do it later. I'll do it when I have the money." What you need is the will to decide. Proctor says that when John Kennedy asked Wernher von Braun what it would take to build a rocket that would carry a man to the moon and return him safely to Earth, his answer was simple and direct: the will to do it. President Kennedy never asked if it was possible. He never asked if they could afford it, or any one of 1,000 other questions, all of which could have at that time been valid questions. President Kennedy made a decision. He decided we would put a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the end of the decade. The fact that it had never been done before in all of the hundreds of thousands of years of human history was not even a consideration. It's never been done before. He decided where he was with what he had. The objective was accomplished in his mind the second he made the decision. It was only a matter of time, and time is governed by natural law, before the goal was manifested in form for the whole world to see. Once you make the decision, you will find all the people, resources, and ideas you need every time. That sounds really crazy, but if that's the only benefit you receive from this particular message on decision making, burn it into your mind. It will change your life. Once you decide, all the people, all the resources, all the ideas that you need will show up every time. You have to make the decision first, whether you want it or not. That's the only consideration. What do you want? Whatever you need to achieve your goal, you will attract after you make the decision. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm going to do. this is how I want to live. And then the how it's going to happen shows up after you decide what the results are going to be, what the outcome is that you truly desire. There's so many people who say, oh, that's absurd. You can't just decide to do something if you don't have the necessary resources. And that's okay if that's the way they choose to think. But Bob Proctor taught that that's a limited way of thinking. In truth, it's probably not thinking at all. It's likely just an opinion being expressed that was inherited from another older member of their family who didn't think either. Thinking is very important. Decision makers are great thinkers. Do you ever give much consideration to your thoughts? How your thoughts affect the various aspects of your life? Although this should be one of our most serious considerations, for many people it's not. There's a very small select few people who make any attempt to control or govern their thoughts. And research has shown that there's somewhere between 60 and 90,000 thoughts that a person has every single day. And most of them are on repeat, so you're not really thinking. You just have the same ideas revolving around and the same mental chatter happening. That's not really thinking. Anyone who has made a study of the great thinkers, the great decision makers, the achievers of history, will know that they very rarely agreed on anything when it came to the study of human life. However, there was one point on which they were all in complete and unanimous agreement, and that was we become what we think about. Think about that. What do you think about? We must all realize that our thoughts ultimately control every decision we make. You are the sum total of your thoughts. By taking charge of your thoughts this very minute, you can guarantee yourself a good day. Refuse to let unhappy, negative people or circumstances affect you. The greatest stumbling block you will encounter when making important decisions in your life is circumstance. And we let circumstance get us off the hook when we should be giving it everything we've got. More dreams are shattered and goals lost because of circumstance than any other single factor. How often have you caught yourself saying, I would love to do that or have that, but I can't because? Whatever follows because is the circumstance. And circumstances may cause a detour in your life, but you should never permit them to stop you from making important decisions. The next time you hear someone say that they would like to take a vacation or purchase a particular vehicle, but they can't because they have no money, tell them they don't need the money until they make the decision to go on the trip or purchase the vehicle. When the decision is made, then the how shows up. They will figure out a way to get the amount that's needed. It always works this way. Bob Proctor writes that many misguided individuals try something once or twice, and if they don't hit the target, they feel like they're a failure. Failing doesn't make you a failure, but quitting certainly does. And quitting is actually a decision. So by following that form of reasoning, you would have to say that when you make a decision to quit, you make a decision to fail. When a person has when a person doesn't have a vision, they don't know what they would love, a vision of a better way of life. If they just look at current circumstances, current reality, and past reality, they're just automatically shutting themselves in a prison of their own mind. They limit themselves to a life without hope. And this happens frequently when a person has seriously tried on a number of occasions to win and ended up meeting with failure time after time, because repeated failures can damage a person's self-image and cause them to lose sight of their potential. Don't make the decision to give up. Build a new self-image. Take the first step in predicting your own prosperous future. Build a mental picture of exactly how you would like to live. Now, that doesn't happen when you're stressed and wanting the opposite of what's going in your life. It takes consciously practicing relaxation exercises to allow your central nervous system to relax and to think of how much more you would enjoy life by no longer participating in negative energy, by following your inner guidance system, by doing the internal work to find work to be a pleasure. And when you have reached the point of self-actualization, you will be doing work that you consider important and enjoying it. You'll have found your purpose, not working hard for the sake of working or feeling not lazy, but to do something that you love where time slips away and you would do it all day long because it's so pleasant, so purposeful, so important to you that it doesn't feel like work. Many people have a beautiful vision of how they would like to live, but because they can't see how they could make it happen, they let go of the vision. If you knew that you were going to have what you really wanted, that would be a plan, not a vision. Bob Proctor says there is no inspiration in a plan. There's inspiration in a vision. When you have a vision, lock that picture in with a decision and don't worry about how you will do it or where the resources will come from. Charge your decision with enthusiasm. That's so important, to not worry about how it will happen, but to just get excited and knowing that it will happen. Make your decision where you are with what you've got. So the first step is to get clear on what you want. You can sit quietly, no distractions, maybe first thing in the morning before you get out of bed, or maybe you have a special place in your home or somewhere that you can sit quietly without being interrupted. And take in a deep cleansing breath. And when you take in a deep breath, take an extra little sip of breath at the top, and then slowly exhale, allowing the exhale to be longer than the inhale. Take another deep breath in with that little sip at the top, and then a very long exhale. This is a cyclic sighing, a deep breath in, an extra sip at the top, and a long exhale. That allows the cortisol that's flooding your body to get back to homeostasis, to allow yourself to feel calm. And from that place, you can decide what you really want. And you can see the vision. You don't see the vision if you're stressed and trying to do too many things at once. This takes practice. Deep breathing exercises that allow your central nervous system to become calm, to allow your body to relax, to allow your mind to get clear enough to decide on a beautiful vision, whether it's health, relationships, financial blessings. It doesn't matter what it is you want. The most important thing is to get into the feeling. And when you decide in advance, make your decision where you are with what you've got. The how doesn't matter. The what you want is all important. By making a simple decision, the greatest minds in the past are available to you. You'll actually get ideas seemingly out of the blue. Thoughts will pop in from out of nowhere. That's how ideas become reality. That's how dreams become goals. Because you are calm, you're clear, you allow ideas to come in, and as you're visualizing and thinking from the goal already accomplished, you're in the spirit of the wish fulfilled. And then ideas come, and as you take action, you take inspired action from a place of loving your wish fulfilled, your dream already happening, your goal already achieved. Everything starts to fall into place. The people, resources, everything shows up at the right time, at the right place. And soon you are living your vision. Make a decision. Get clear on what you want. You might take some time to really get into that feeling and then write it down. Writing causes thinking, and from a place of already having your goal accomplished, already done, ideas will flow. Write them down so you don't forget them. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day. Decide it's going to be a fantastic day. And I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.